my name is Stephanie and I teach people about the Okinawan lifestyle. So today I wanted to start with one of the most quintessential ideas that comes from Okinawa about eating and kind of like health and diet. It's this concept called harahachibu. Now, harahachibu means eating until you're 80% full. That's kind of the loose translation. And all that means is that our plates are smaller, our meals and our portion sizes are smaller, and there's a lot of variety in Japanese food and Okinawan cooking and Okinawan food. So the idea of harahachibu is you don't eat until you're stuffed. And I think that a lot of times, for example, in America, people think of Thanksgiving and they imagine that like turkey coma or whatever people get into. But I feel like that happens to a lot of people for just like a regular lunch on a Monday, right? When you have something really thick and rich like a fettuccine alfredo, and then you go back to work and it's pretty natural for you to feel really run down. Your digestive system is kind of an overdrive trying to get rid of all that heavy food. But in Okinawa, number one, the food is a totally different ballgame. It's certainly not fettuccine alfredo, but also you don't eat as much in one sitting. You kind of want to save some room. I would say not to where you're still hungry, but you're satisfied, you're satiated. It's not a overindulgence or because this tastes so good, I want to eat more of it, which I think we're all kind of guilty of. I know I struggle with that. When something tastes good or it looks good, smells good, you just tend to overeat. Harahachibu is really just about learning your body's kind of signals when you've had enough to eat. That even comes into play before you eat. Sometimes you want to eat and it's just really that you're bored or you're thirsty or you just are kind of looking for something to do. So number one, you want to kind of avoid snacking and eating during those times. But number two, when you do eat, you don't want to wait until you're starving to eat because I think that's a time that a lot of us tend to overeat. But also when you start eating, notice when you're slowing down. Notice when you're not really tasting the food anymore and you're just kind of gulping it down. Those are the times when it's very natural to kind of stop and cut back. Short backstory, I moved to America when I was 18. So when I first came here, having not lived in America and growing up kind of always hearing about American food and whatnot, I really went buck wild when I came to the States. So the first things that I did when I was on my weight loss journey and trying to lose those 20 pounds that I gained in America, that was really kind of gradually creeping up, was portion sizes are huge in the United States. I think a lot of foreigners, that's one of the first things that we take notice of when we come to America. When it comes to portion sizes, I noticed that if I ate, regardless of whether or not I ate my whole meal or I saved half of it, in like 3-ish hours, I might be hungry again. And maybe not necessarily starving, but just like kind of wanting something to munch on. And so I realized if I cut for example, a sandwich in half and I ate one half for lunch, and then 3 hours later, I would eat the other half. So I'm still eating kind of the same amount, I'm just breaking it up more, and you'll find that that is practicing harahachibu. You're not eating until you're disgustingly full, till you're stuffed and you can't move, to the point where you need to lay down. All of that is out with harahachibu, and it's just about paying attention to how little your body actually needs. I'm not saying this like to deprive yourself or as some kind of dietary fad or anything. It's just a matter of sometimes your eyes are bigger than your stomach, right? A lot of times. So if you want to practice eating like an Okinawan and eating for longevity and to enjoy your food and have a reverence for your food and appreciation for your food, I really suggest implementing harahachibu and just paying attention. Maybe you still eat the same amount, but you just kind of stop yourself at a certain point and notice, am I full, am I not? And if you're hungry, keep eating. But I think you'll find that, especially if you come from maybe a culture where you just tend to finish your plate, that you don't always need to finish your plate. And if that's the case, put less of it on your plate. Use smaller plates. There are a lot of different ways that you can eat like an Okinawan that have nothing to do with raw fish or a plant-based diet. You can really take these practices into whatever aspect of your life, wherever and however you're eating, whether that's at home or at restaurants. So I encourage you to try harahachibu and give it a go and see if you in fact need as much food as you think that you need, because I guarantee that you don't. See you next time.